and welcome to Janet being Janet. We are going to cover another one of Katie Joy's live streams, and this one has to do with her son and autism. So y'all stick around because I have a couple of opinions. I'm going to comment over like I did last time, and I'm just going to talk as she talks. Alrighty guys, y'all stay with me. And hey, just so you know, I want you to go down there and hit subscribe for me, because you know what? If this channel grows, it's going to make her mad. And then if it gets big enough, then maybe she'll talk to me about it. But, you know, maybe not. Just, you know, so y'all just go down there and subscribe. We'll see how this goes. All right, we'll do this together. That's the way to do this. Alrighty, guys. Let's play her live stream.
I abruptly canceled that live, and I just
because her son started yelling.
Because I am so freaking scared of people on the internet, and
you really should be.
I hate that everything that happens to me eventually turns into like, oh my god, she's abusing her kid. But
that's what people think.
I was doing a live stream.
It's got a buffer for a minute. It just is happening that way. You're gonna hear cars go by.
Everything's fine. Everything's cool. Like, he's in the shower. Everything's great. And then, like, we have meltdowns, y'all. And
autistic kids have meltdowns. They really do.
They scream and yell. And it's hard because we have gone through a lot in the last few months. We had a couple people that really took things way too far and tried to falsely accuse my husband of really terrible things. And
where's your proof?
False report with police, and we have ongoing criminal stuff because of that. And I was dealing with aspects of that which was another reason why I didn't go live, and I didn't want to talk about that publicly, but I had to file a police report tonight.
Who did you file one on this time?
I filed a police report today, so that's just kind of been like our life, is trying to protect him, because we have
you should protect your child at all costs.
Multiple restraining orders that are protecting him right now.
Now there are multiple restraining orders
of the people that we're seeking protection from calling CPS again. So
you're just scared of CPS being called.
And I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Come on, Katie Joy, spit it out.
I'm skittish. Very skittish. We had 4 CPS reports, and there was a creator that put a video on her channel, and she amplified the audio.
I think she's talking about T-spiracy.
She decided that my son said certain things which were not true, and I don't even know if the video is still on her channel or not, but she was really mad when I say that because of her video, people called CPS, but it's true. When CPS came here, they said that they saw a video on YouTube and there was a phone number, and that's why they called.
Does CPS really pay attention to YouTube? I mean, honestly.
But autism is not easy, and
it's not.
Asperger's is no longer a diagnosis, so children are no longer diagnosed with Asperger's. So no, he does not have Asperger's, he has autism.
My son has Asperger's,
and
autism.
And then they'll say, he's not autistic because you wrote an article that said that he was misdiagnosed as autistic.
So he's
And
not
I'm like,
autistic.
okay, have you ever gotten through diagnostics for children? And you have 12 specialists, and one specialist says one thing, and another specialist says another thing, and you have neurologists and neuropsychologists and and then neurosurgeons and developmental doctors and pediatricians, and all of them are sharing their opinions. And
I had
like,
multiple hospitals.
Confused. And you're like, okay. So we got the diagnoses, and then we were like, cool. And then like 8 months later, he was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, and then the doctors were like, well, hydrocephalus kind of looks like autism, and they can have some of the same learning disabilities.
So does he not have autism?
So we don't know if that is true. So here's the thing about autism. You never grow out of it. Ever.
Nope.
So if someone
is
a
permanent
diagnosed with it, and then it changes, that means they were incorrectly diagnosed. But you never grow out of autism.
You never ever grow out of it.
There's no such thing as moving off the spectrum. It simply means that the child is misdiagnosed, and that does happen. And so we thought we had been misdiagnosed.
So were you actually misdiagnosed? That's the question. Does your son have autism?
We went to a neuropsychologist for a full appointment, like 9 months after his brain surgery. And things improved a lot, but he was still autistic. And they did not want to remove
So he is autistic.
Because if you remove autism and you still qualify for it, it helps with education, it helps with services. All of his issues are consistent with autism. All of his developmental, functioning, it's all consistent with autism.
Wait a second, so, you don't claim autism just for the benefit.
Diagnosed because that's what doctors told me. But
you don't do that.
Autistic, and it's on all of his paperwork. But people in
I'm
the
confused.
world of black and white don't understand that. When
is he autistic?
Doctors,
is he?
Change with kids constantly.
Yes, I'm in my car filming this.
Matter with kids with disabilities, so you might not like labels, but they matter with kids with disabilities because it means services, and they're important.
So that's the reason why you're accepting the label of autism.
Limits. I mean, we have to rediscover what we think about disability. I think honestly, I think a lot of times we're always like, well, they can do anything. Well,
they can.
Yes, within their context. I think you have to be realistic, and I think it's important to be realistic.
You have to push autistic children. You have to. I have one.
Expect things that can make you feel worse. But he's amazing, and he's an awesome kid, and labels equal services, and labels equal getting proper education.
That is
sad.
Labels
equal having your child treated the way they need to be treated in the educational system.
Never use a label to get services for your child. Always want to know what your child actually has. Don't use labels because you get extra things from the government. You just don't do that. You always want to know the diagnosis of your child.
Services is special education, speech therapy, occupational therapy,
that comes with autism,
adaptive phy-ed, lots of services.
Yeah, because he has autism, right? Or does he not have autism? I'm confused now.
Diet doesn't affect children with autism any more than it affects the natural population.
Diet does affect children with
Studies
autism.
That have tried to whittle out diet as a factor of autism. Diet doesn't affect children with autism any more than it affects the regular population.
Feed your child with autism a bunch of sugar and see what happens.
My page, you would know that my son is tube fed, so he has the same diet every single day.
But I thought you said he eats certain things by mouth. This doesn't make sense whatsoever at all. And guys, as a mother with an autistic child, this bothers me.
Does your child, is it possible for issues to lower?
No.
That's a weird question.
That's not a weird question. It's a valid question.
I think all people are capable of growth.
Every year they get older in mind.
What your child deals with at 3 versus what your child deals with at 8 is not the same.
Because they're maturing.
So, but you're not like less autistic. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not like he's suddenly less autistic.
But is he autistic, or are you just claiming it for benefits? That's the question.
I think services are so important for kids, and I don't think you should be afraid of a label. I think it would be worse if your child didn't have a label. I feel like if you're truly care about your child, you would want them to have the proper diagnoses so you can help them the best that they can.
I agree.
And I think it's okay to understand the challenges with a label. I
completely agree with her.
Being perfect, and no child is perfect.
Every child is perfect in their mother's eyes or in their father's eyes. So I disagree with that 100%. Yeah, you hear cars going by because I'm outside in the car. Sorry about that, guys.
Even a appropriate term to use with autism, to be frank. Coping skills are important, but they're important for all children. I think it's really ableist to say that they can learn how to function better.
They can.
I think it's inappropriate to call any child functioning low or functioning high.
My son is high functioning autistic.
They're people, and they shouldn't be expected to fit a norm.
I thought you didn't want labels.
Of what you think they are. All children learn coping skills, so I think it's ableist to say that a child with ASD will be able to function better. All children function better with age, regardless.
Because they mature.
All children are taught coping skills, regardless.
Not all children. Some parents don't teach coping skills, so you cannot say all children. Some people don't know how to deal with autism.
No, don't remove labels. I just say I'm still learning coping skills as a 42-year-old woman, because
you have a special needs child.
There's aspects of therapy of autism that I don't like. I don't like that the world wants to pigeonhole them and place them into boxes and make them try to fit into our world. I think it's ableist.
The world's not doing that.
With autism into a neurotypical.
The world is more and more accepting every single day.
Like you or me, because we are not autistic, and we can't force them to be less autistic.
That's correct.
I don't believe in that. We've never believed in correcting his stimming or taking away his self-soothing or anything like that. I feel like that's what he needs as a child with autism.
I never took away my son's self-soothing.
Don't dampen or interfere with his special interests. We love his special interests. We embrace his special interests.
That's a good thing.
He loves dinosaurs, and he has loved dinosaurs since he's been 2 years old, and he is obsessed with Godzilla. And our house is filled to the brim with dinosaurs and Godzilla, and
that's good.
We're constantly finding ways to integrate ways for him to learn around dinosaurs and Godzilla. It's what motivates him.
Motivation for an autistic child is very, very important.
So he just learns differently.
Every autistic child does.
He has a trampoline to jump on. He's got a crash pad to run into. We have swings.
Come on, Katie Joy, list some more things you have for your son. Come on.
This is what our house looks like right now. of dinosaurs everywhere.
You want to give your son a lot to do when they have autism.
We've never done ABA.
And that is your choice.
Because we don't, an ABA, BBA, whatever therapists, they don't like it when I say that I don't want my child to be less autistic. And I don't like that. They don't like that. So
there's no such thing as less autistic.
I know ABA is currently recognized as a therapy that works, but I don't do that. We've never done that with our son, and we'll never do that with our son.
If it's proven to work,
but
why not use it?
There's aspects of ABA
just
that
a question,
him, like social stories and that kind of stuff, but there's a lot of things that we don't.
Come on, Katie Joy. Keep going. Keep talking about your son. This is a good thing. People want to know about your son. People really want to know
what services he receives, but he has gone through plenty of therapy. Lots of it.
That's a good thing.
But I'm not going to disclose to anyone publicly what he does privately. That's nobody's business but ours.
Nobody's telling you to.
But we don't participate in ABA, and we never have, and we never will.
That's a choice of yours.
And he's thriving, and that's all that matters.
Yay! I'm glad that he's thriving. I really, really am. Keep talking, Katie Joy. Come on, you can do it. You're talking about your son. It's a good thing.
Oh, we love you too.
Come on, Katie Joy.
Yeah, every person that has a child, like if you have one child with autism, you have one child with autism. That's it. Like, you can't compare kids with autism. They have similar
No, you cannot.
symptoms, but they're all different.
Every child is different. No matter what, every child is different.
ABA is like Pavlovian. It's like training a child to not be autistic. And it's like,
let's use these big, huge words
that are not autistic. And some aspects of ABA can be helpful, but it's like 40 hours a week for really young kids. And it's just,
if ABA can be helpful and successful, why not use it?
It's really intense. And the goal,
some kids thrive in intense
less.
Therapy.
They want to get over behaviors that might hurt their kids or whatever, but they use a lot of reward systems.
I do too.
And they use a lot of like holds, which are really detrimental. But yeah, like they'll put kids in for 40 hours a week, and it's like training a child to not do things that are autistic. And
no, they train children to cope.
The therapists, some are really good and some are really bad, and it's not very well regulated. And
no, that happens with every agency.
The therapists that do BBA, not all of them have higher advanced education.
But they have the education to do it.
But if you speak to adults that have gone through it, a lot of them have very, very negative things to say about it. And it reminds me of Pavlovian dog training, to be honest.
Let's use some really big words.
Do something and you can get a cookie.
Hey, I reward my child. 100% I reward my child. Just because he's autistic doesn't mean he doesn't deserve rewards.
Some ABA therapists, they want your kids not to stim. And that's like really not okay with me.
You have the choice with your child on what therapy your choice does, or what therapy your child does. You honestly have the choice.
Pavlovian is like when you're training a dog, and you're training your dog. If they hear a bell, they're not going to do something, and that's what ABA kind of does. It's training the kid not to do something based on a reward or negative.
My son gets rewards every single day when he does something amazing.
This one says, would you give someone who has ADHD rewards for not being hyper when they can't control it? No, it's not healthy. It teaches a person that food is a reward which has consequences in and of itself.
It doesn't always have to be food. You don't have to always reward your son or your child with food. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, no, standard ABA is 40 hours a week. So if your child only had it 1 hour a day, that's not standard ABA. Standard ABA is 40 hours a week.
She knows it all when it comes to autism, let me tell you. In her eyes.
If
Just
your
my
son needs
opinion.
to flap, let him flap. Let him do whatever he needs. Who cares? My son likes to jump and run.
My son used to love to jump and run. He used
It
to
also doesn't teach
absolutely
them
love it.
anything, like, about, you don't get any education in ABA. It's like, you can have like ABA aspects, like, I don't know.
If you don't know, why are you speaking on it? Honestly, why?
If he wants to flap, let him flap. If he likes to spin, let him spin. If he
Sorry
likes
for the
to
sound. I'm in my car.
jump up and down on a trampoline all day, let him do that. As long as it, like, who cares if it's not hurting him?
As long as he's getting his energy out. That's the way I look at it.
We have a trampoline, we have a swing. Although he's
Good
kind of gotten
job.
over that. Now he just has like routines with his toys. And
Autistic children are
now.
so smart. They really are.
he watches his iPad. That's kind of how he self-soothes.
My son used to remember every SpongeBob episode. Every single one. He would know it before it even came on. That's the way he was. He was attached to SpongeBob.
He definitely likes vestibular motion, like crashing.
Katie Joy needs to learn to talk,
super
to where people can, her not use big words
swinging.
and her just talk to her
We bought him a
audience.
new swing and he won't go in it. He's so particular about swings. Self-harm is hard. We deal with that too.
My son used to bang his
He
head
hits
into the
himself.
floor. I'd stick my hand down so he wouldn't hit the floor because I used to feel so bad. Not wanting him to hurt himself.
But yeah, there's Chewy's crashing, like a crash pad. Like some children with autism, they like
Run and jump!
vestibular proprioception. So they like the way that their body feels in space.
They just
And
want to
so
run and jump pretty much.
Proprioception, like impact, is like crashing or jumping or running into things. He likes to like
I'll put it in simpler terms for you.
crawl on the floor, slide on the floor. He likes to run and jump a lot. He likes to like run on his hands and knees and
Get
like
that
slide
energy
into
out,
things.
boy. Have fun. Have
It's
fun.
just it's like a sense. You have like different senses, and that's like some kids just really like to feel their body in space.
They like to run and jump. They like it when they jump.
So if a kid likes proprioception,
Let's use these big words again.
um,
Let's do that.
if they want to feel that, they can jump on a trampoline. They can
Yes,
swing. They can jump into a crash pad. They can crawl. They're just very active.
Yep. My son used to run and jump into a beanbag chair.
They like to
he
go
loved
down
it.
on slides, or like some, like it's like the I'm trying to say impact, but impact is not the word I mean. It's like some kids like weighted blankets.
My son never did.
It's not impact. Not feedback. Feedback's not the right word either.
Find your word, Katie Joy. Come on. You can do it. I have faith in you.
Input. There you
go.
Input, proprioceptive input.
Let's use these really big words, guys. Let's just have fun with them.
Input.
There's a lot of easier ways to put this.
Some people, for their input, they like pressure. Like deep pressure. Our son hates deep pressure. Weighted blankets don't do shit for us. Some kids, when they are blankets or have like vests on, because it like the pressure on their skin feels really good. It just depends on
my son
how
never
they
liked
feel
stuff like that.
and
He
how
has
their
sensory
input
disorders.
is felt. Like our son is very sensitive to noise and hearing, and he has
So
a
is mine.
hard time with a lot of voices, and so we can't talk a lot when he's concentrating, or he gets really agitated.
Oh, mine will just tell me to be quiet. That's what mine will do.
But weighted blankets don't work for everyone, so I think people assume like, oh, you have a child with autism, so you must need a weighted blanket.
No.
But he doesn't like them, and no, he doesn't like to wear headphones either.
You gotta leave that up to the
child.
child.
A child to wear headphones if they don't like headphones. And we've done listening therapy, and it doesn't help. It helps for some, but not for all. And
True.
forcing someone to wear headphones to like block things out, I think is cruel.
My son used to not like
To be
things on
honest.
his head.
If they don't like the way it feels, it's not going to help. It's going to make them more agitated. And he also has neuropathic pain. So some children with autism also have like actual physical pain from things like he doesn't like to wear certain textures because it hurts.
Oh, my son will itch. That's what he'll do. He'll just itch. Like if he wear pants or something like that, he'll just itch and scratch and just tell me, Mama,
the way that they
it
feel and sense
itches.
things is so much different than we feel and sense things. He doesn't wear jeans. He refuses to wear jeans
See?
because it hurts him. He literally says that jeans hurt, like his
Mine
skin.
doesn't say hurt. He says itches. Come on, Katie Joy, keep talking about your son. I'm interested in this. I really am.
I think just people assume that like, oh, well, kids with autism wear headphones. Not all kids with autism like to wear headphones.
Nope, they don't.
You know, we've tried headphones and he doesn't like them, and we're not going to force him to wear it. We did it for years. It didn't help him. He even did, we literally did listening therapy. We would have headphones on and listen to music for hours. It didn't do anything.
For hours? I never forced my son to do anything like that for hours. He said no meant no. He couldn't handle it. He was done with it. He was over it.
Auditory processing disorder is really hard. He hears things so much more sensitively than we do.
Sorry, guys. Outside.
He hates going to Walmart because of the lights.
My son hates going to
He
Walmart
literally
because of the crowd.
Hates Walmart. He always wants to go to Target because Target doesn't have the same.
Yeah, my
So,
son
you know, when
doesn't
you go
like
into a
Target
Walmart
either.
And they have like the overhead like fluorescent lights, and it's like a warehouse almost, and it's really loud when you go there. I would never hear that But if he goes into a Walmart, he can hear the lights, and he hates the way those lights sound.
When auditory bothers them,
you can't go to Walmart.
Then that means that
But
the
if he
sound
goes
is
to
amplified
Target,
into their
Target
ears.
doesn't have the same lights in the ceiling that are like, it's more of an enclosed space, even though it's like similar in size. The lights in Walmart are so loud, so he hates going into Walmart.
My son hates any big store.
Kind of stopped shopping up.
We got to buffer for a second, guys. Hold on just
Walmart,
a second.
Not because it was cheaper, but because it bothered his ears.
So this tells you Katie Joy gets out of the house and she does things with him.
The cicadas, which are like grasshoppers, aren't they like grasshoppers? We have a lot of cicadas out here, which are like grasshoppers. He hates
My son hates the sound of all bugs. He really does. He thinks they're too loud. He always tells them, just be quiet. It doesn't work, but he still tells them, just be quiet.
Walmart's aisles drive him crazy because they're like super crowded and filled with things.
They're close together.
Overwhelming for him.
That's the problem with Walmart. Their aisles are close together. My son doesn't want to be touching other people.
Well, you know what? I want to tell you a story about Walmart, or about a really neat story about
Come on,
Target.
tell your story.
So we have a super Target that's by us, and it's...
Let's buffer for a second. Hey, this came from Instagram, guys. It really did.
Near us, like, there's a Target. We don't live near anything. I just want to preface this. So there's like a regular Target that's like 9 miles from us, but we live out in the country, so 9 miles is like 9 minutes. And
9 minutes. Y'all remember this. 9 miles, 9 minutes.
But then we have a super Target that's probably like 15 minutes away.
Remember that.
If you go to the bathroom at that one super Target, there wasn't, there was like only Dyson, what do you call them? Hand dryers. And so they're really, really loud, and that scares the shit out of my son.
My son is scared of the force of them.
Because he was like having a meltdown because of those dryers. And I know they say that they're economical and they will do less waste, but in his little mind, in his little brain, that noise hurts him. And so I went on Twitter one day and I said, and I literally stated this, I'm not even shitting you. I said, Target in Rogers, you need to do some shit. Like, you need to get hand towels. There needs to be an option for children with disabilities and adults with disabilities.
There does need to be.
And I tweeted that out. I'm not even lying. Within a month, that Target had installed hand towels.
Does that mean Katie Joy made a big difference?
I don't know if I had anything to do with that, but I honestly put the tweet out. They responded and they said, we hear you, we're sorry. And then like the next time I went to that same Target, there was hand towels in that. You remember this?
Guys, I hope you can hear me over her.
I put that out on Twitter, and then they responded to me and they apologized.
Good old Twitter.
We're so sorry. We will do better. And they put hand towels in there.
That's a good thing. It really is. That is really a good thing.
And they don't have them at all stores, but Target will definitely like. And then they have like the family bathrooms too. But yeah.
They've had those forever.
That's why we honestly shop at Target. Because like you're like, oh, they have hand towels. And so they put in hand towels at our Target that's by our house.
So you go shopping. You get out of the house and you do something. Good job.
He was scared of going. That's why we don't go to. That's why we don't take him to Costco. We had a membership at Costco for years. I don't even know if we still have one. We might. It's expired probably. But we stopped going to Costco because of the bathrooms. They scared the shit out of him.
Just because of the bathrooms? Now, the auto flush has scared my son.
Target has the worst return policy? Really? Target returns everything. Are you serious?
I don't care about the return policy. I honestly don't. I don't care about this part. Let's get back to talking about your son. I'm interested in your son. That's why I'm doing this video, is I'm interested in your son. Interested in your son.
They also have gender neutral bathrooms too, so I like that.
So I didn't catch every single bit of that, obviously. I tried to catch every single bit of it, but I didn't. But I caught the most part of it, and I was talking about the most part of her live. I have tried to go into Instagram, and going back into Instagram and going into her live that she did. She actually starts talking about the Duggars, and I don't care about the Duggars whatsoever at all. I'm trying to go back into Instagram so I can see it. But I don't care about the Duggars whatsoever at all. I cared more about her child, and I cared more about what she had to say about her child. So, in case you didn't know, I should have put this at the beginning, but I'm putting this now. My son has autism, and he has high functioning autism. And what that means is he is above a level 70, which means whenever it came down to us getting, any kind of services for him and getting the right skill set for him, that number meant a lot whenever it come to it. Now, listening to Katie Joy and what Katie Joy had to say, she doesn't want to put any kind of numbers on it or anything like that. She doesn't want to think about she doesn't want to think about whenever it comes to, the higher levels to the lower levels. She doesn't want to think about that. But when your child is diagnosed with Asperger's, autism, whenever they're above 70, then they're higher functioning, which means they can do a lot more. And that's what my son is. He's high functioning. So he can do more than some of the lower class people that, not the lower class people, but the people that score lower on the actual test itself. Now, I had my son tested whenever he was about 12 years old, somewhere around there is whenever I had my son tested. And so that's when we found out, that he had autism. He was 10, 12, somewhere around there. That's when we found out he had autism. So when Katie Joy was starting to talk about her son having autism, I had certain feelings about it, and I had certain things that I wanted to say. And yeah, I didn't catch all of the live, but listen to me. I caught the majority of the live, and then she goes into talking about the Duggars. And I don't care about the Duggars personally. I really don't care about them. She can talk about them all day long, and it's not going to bother me. It's not something I'm going to react to whatsoever at all. It's something that I'm just going to say, okay, she's talking about the Duggars. I really just, honestly, guys, I'm sorry. If you like the Duggars, I'm sorry. I'm not into it. I'm not into their court cases. I'm not into any of that. But when she was talking about her son and his autism, that was something that I was into. And that was something that I wanted to comment on, because I didn't agree with everything that she was saying. And having a son with autism, you can't place them in any kind of category whatsoever at all. You can't. High functioning, low functioning, it doesn't really matter. You cannot place them in a category. And Katie Joy, the way I look at it and the way, I heard things, which this is all my opinion. Everything in this video is 100% my opinion. I probably should have said it sooner, but it's 100% my opinion. But I think that, some of the resources that Katie Joy is getting, she's saying that her child wasn't diagnosed with autism. He was diagnosed with autism. He wasn't diagnosed with autism. I'm confused. Was he diagnosed with autism or not? Because that's a big thing. You can't claim to be an autistic child's mother if your son is not autistic. If your son has a different diagnosis, then that's what matters. If he had a diagnosis for autism just so he could get benefits and get extra things, that's wrong. And at one point during this live, that's the way I took it, and I couldn't help but take it any other way. Like I said, this is all my opinion, 100% my opinion. I took it a certain way, and you can't use, I mean, just as somebody that actually has a heart and actually wants to, you know, see services go to kids that need the services, you can't really use the services for your own child if your child doesn't need them. That's just not right. Just like ADA therapy. If she didn't want her son having it, that's her choice. Being an autistic parent, you have a lot of choices. You really, really do. You can listen to the doctors and you can do exactly what the doctors say to do, or you can sit and you can say, okay, I don't think this is right for my child, so I'm not going to do it. I don't think it's right for my child. Now, there are services that I turned down, but a lot of services for my child I accepted, because anything to help him. It wasn't about, you know, oh, well, I think this is wrong. I think this isn't going to help. I think this isn't going to do this. So, you know, this is compared to a, you know, something you do with a dog. I didn't do that. That's not the type of mother I am. That's not who I am as a person. I actually, you know, when the doctors said, you know, this would be helpful for my son, for your child, I accepted it. Now, he didn't have ADA therapy. He didn't have that, but he had a lot of other therapies that really, really benefited him. He is 18 years old now. He is a grown adult. He is a high-functioning autistic child. And I will say that till the end of days, because he is very high functioning. Whenever he was in school, he was labeled as high functioning. He got his classes because he was high functioning. He got his services because he was high functioning. They based everything on how he was actually diagnosed. And so him being diagnosed with high functioning meant they could actually take his courses and prepare them for him specially. And it wasn't something where he would be in the class with, you know, the typical child. He would be in certain classes to where he even had an autistic class, where whenever he was having a meltdown, a breakdown, any of that, he could go into that class. He could snuggle up into one of them little love sacks that they had. That's what they're called, beanbag sacks, whatever they are. He could snuggle into one of those and he could have an episode. And they left him alone because he was having an episode. And that's why having a diagnosis of autism, if you have one, you have to know your limits and you have to know exactly what is out there for your child. Your doctors will tell you, or they will actually say, you know, I suggest this, I suggest this, I suggest this. If Katie Joy doesn't want to take their suggestions, Katie Joy doesn't have to take their suggestions. She doesn't 100% at all. But at certain points, you know, are certain things suggested for a child because it would be better for them? Yes, it really is. It's suggested because it would be better for the child. Now, she has her own feelings whenever it comes down to it. She has her own feelings on, you know, like she said, she compared them to the dog therapy. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But I say, my opinion only, give your child every opportunity you can possibly give your child if they have autism. Some autistic children do not speak. They don't. Some autistic children just, you know, they run around, they play, they end up getting diagnosed with ADHD and things like that because that's what they do. They run around, they play, they're hyper, they're all over the place. That's just what it is. And Katie Joy also sometimes doesn't want people labeled. Well, the thing is you need a label for your child. And I hate to say that, I really do. But when you have a label for your child, then you are able to actually say to your child, or say to anybody questioning your child, you have autism. You have ADHD. You are bipolar. I'm listing off what my son has, but this is stuff that was listed or diagnosed to my son. So I knew where to go as a stepping stone. When Katie Joy was talking, when she was actually talking, I didn't know if her son actually had autism. She said that it sounded like autism. But then there was another thing that would fit in there as well. Well, there's a big difference. If your child does not have autism, do not claim autism. My opinion 100%. If your child does not have autism, don't claim it. Don't, because that's not fair to the parents that actually have children with autism. That's not fair. 100% that's not fair, because parents with autism understand other parents who actually, or parents with children with autism, understand that. My son is 18 years old. Has he outgrown his autism? No. Will he outgrow his autism? No. There are adults out there that have autism and they haven't ever outgrown it, but there's different levels of autism. There's different things, qualities of autism that you can have. It doesn't have to be one certain way. It doesn't have to be that, every child has auditory, every child has sensory. It doesn't have to be that way, and it's not that way, regardless of how bad you want it to be that way. No matter how bad you want to put your child or somebody else's child into a category, it does not work that way. And guys, I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this because I have been through a lot with my child. I really, really have. My son's name is Jordan. He has turned into an amazing young man. He defied odds of what the therapist said, what the doctor said. He has defied every single thing that they had to say. So I know it's possible, but I also put my son in a lot of treatment. I put my son in almost everything possible that I could put my son in because I wanted him to succeed. I wanted him to grow. I wanted him to grow emotionally. I wanted him to grow, not only physically, but I wanted him to grow inside whenever it came to his opinions and the choices he made. I wanted him to grow in every single way possible. Katie Joy, to me, in my opinion, 100%, Katie Joy wants things done her way, and it's not going to be that way with her son. Her son is going to grow the way her son wants to grow. Her son is going to develop the way that her son wants to develop. That's just the way it's going to be. And she's not going to be able to say, he needs this, he needs this, he needs this later in life if she doesn't try to go after what is offered to her now. Yeah, she has nurses now. Yeah, she has, my opinions. These are 100% my opinions. Yeah, she has nurses. Yeah, she has school. Yeah, she has all this other stuff. But we've got to think about, or she, not we. I know we as an audience care about what happens with her child. But she's got to think about his future. She's got to think about what's going to happen to him in the future and what is going to be available to him in the future. She doesn't want to, my opinion, I wouldn't want to limit what my child's ability for services would be in the future. My son going all the way through school, he had services available because he had, as soon as he got that diagnosis of autism, everything changed. Everything changed. Everything became a lot easier, and I knew what I was looking at and I knew what I was dealing with. So with her saying, and it really, guys, if you can't tell, I'm sorry. I really, really am sorry. It really frustrates me, and it really got to me for her to say that he had autism, has autism, but it could be something else. But she's not going to accept something else because she's going to get so much more out of it being autism. That really, really got to me. And like I said, guys, this is all my opinion, 100% my opinion, but that really, really got to me because of the simple fact of you want to know what your child has. Regardless of what it is, you want to know what your child has so you know your next step in your child's life. As a parent, you are responsible for your child. You are responsible for what happens to that child. You are responsible for exactly the next step that child takes. You are 100% responsible for your child. You can deny services if you want to deny services. That is completely up to you. 100% up to you. But for her to say it could be another diagnosis, it could be, but we're going to accept autism, we're going to say it's autism, that makes no sense to me. And like I said, 100% my opinion, it makes absolutely no sense to me. And it's very frustrating to me because I have been dealing with autism since my son was, a little bitty teeny tiny thing. I have been through a lot. I have dealt with a lot. So just somebody being able to claim autism if it's not autism, and this is nothing against her son, 100% nothing against her son whatsoever at all. Her son has nothing to do with this whatsoever at all because it's on the parent. It is 100% on the parent. It's the parent's choice. And Katie Joy deciding to come out and say that it could be something else, but it has the traits of, then you're going to have all these different specialists saying it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. You're going to have all these different specialists. I mean, if you're a good parent and you're getting your child evaluated like you should get your child evaluated, you're going to have all these different specialists saying, you know, it could be all of these different things. But if there is something that fits your child better and actually molds into your child better, you need to go with that diagnosis. You don't need to go with a diagnosis just because of benefits. That's not what it's about. It's 100% not about that. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to get riled up. I really am not 100%, but I really am, because I've been through this battle. I have dealt with it. My son, like I said, is 18 years old. He's absolutely amazing. He has come so far. I have given up my life for my son. I have done everything possible for my son. I have, you know, put myself on the back burner. I haven't mattered in years. 100%. I have not mattered in years. What has mattered to me is the health of my children and exactly what's going on with my children. When my son was younger, I wasn't on YouTube. I wasn't doing anything else besides going to work and taking care of my child. 100%. And I'm not saying that Katie Joy doesn't work, because Katie Joy works. She does YouTube, so she works. She does Instagram, she does Twitter, she does all these different things. So Katie Joy works. She makes her living. I understand that. 100% I understand that. She had to end this stream, or a stream prior, because her son was yelling and screaming. So with her son yelling and screaming and having a meltdown, that's the reason why she decided to do this stream. She had to come back on and apologize to people, pretty much, or, you know, tell people, this is the reason why I had to do this. That, you know, I felt like I had to come back on. When in all actuality, you didn't have to come back on. You didn't have to talk about your son. You don't want people talking about your son. 100%. You don't want people talking about your son, but then you'll come on Instagram and you will say a bunch of stuff about your son, and you will say whatever you want to say about your son, and then you'll have people like me react to that, and then whenever we react, we're wrong, because we're attacking you as a mother. We're attacking you as what you're doing. We're attacking you, when in all actuality, we're not attacking you. It has nothing to do with attacking you whatsoever at all. And y'all have never seen me riled up like this. Y'all really haven't. But I care about kids. 100% I care about kids. I care about their future. I care about what is going on with them. I care. If I can help a parent, I will help a parent, and I will tell a parent that it will be okay. I will tell a parent that you have to work hard for your child. And I'm not talking just financially hard. I am talking about physically hard. I am talking about willing to give up so much of yourself to be with that child and to take care of that child. And her child has a feeding tube, but I've also heard that she feeds her child. So at what point, honestly, at what point will we really know? My opinion, 100% my opinion. At what point are we going to know the real truth? What point is it going to be that it's no longer her son has to have this, her son has to have that, her son, you know, is diagnosed with this, her son is diagnosed with that? I mean, she's the one that keeps it confusing. She's the one that keeps it like this. Nobody else does it. Katie Joy does this to herself. Katie Joy says stuff, and then she has people like me on here questioning her for the reason why she is saying what she is saying, and the reason why she is doing what she is doing. And I cover Katie Joy. I understand I cover Katie Joy. I cover the positives. I usually give Katie Joy the benefit of the doubt. And like I said, through this entire video, you know, when I agreed with her, I agreed with her. I told her 100% I agreed with her. But then when I went against her, I went against her because I don't believe in it. And that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. I've had a hard time raising my son with autism. Katie Joy can get online and be just fine. She can act 100% just fine. I used to sit down and cry for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. There was no way I could do anything else with my life besides worry about my child. And for Katie Joy to be able to go on Twitter, Instagram, my opinion, 100% my opinion, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, all this other different stuff, for her to be able to go on all this different stuff, I could never do it. Now my child is old enough to where I can do something like this. Now my child is old enough to communicate with me. He tells me when something's wrong. He tells me when, you know, there's a problem. But I could never see myself doing what Katie Joy does. And guys, I am usually on, like I said, I usually give her the benefit of the doubt, but this one really right here really got to me, and I'm sorry for the rant. I really am sorry for the rant. I'm sorry for going on. 100% I'm sorry for going on and on and on and on and on and on. But this got to me because I'm a parent of an autistic child. And if you are a parent of an autistic child, bless you. I'm telling you, bless you. Because some days are going to be harder than others. Some days are going to make you feel like there's nothing you can do whatsoever at all. Like you're the worst parent in the world. Some days are going to make you feel like there's nothing left to look forward to because your child is stuck. Your child is stuck where he's at or she's at. And that's, please do not ever get like that. Please do not ever get like that. Understand that children grow, children mature, and you have to have faith in your children. You have to have faith in what is going to happen with your child. You cannot ever discount your child whatsoever at all, because children are amazing. They are 100% amazing, and they will surprise you every single day if you allow them and give them the opportunity to surprise you. I don't think, listen to me, in my opinion, I don't think that Katie Joy gives her son the opportunity to surprise her and actually amaze her on all the things that he could possibly do. I don't think that, and this is just my opinion, 100% my opinion. I don't, just the way Katie Joy was talking, she wanted, in my opinion, she was wanting sympathy for all of it, and she didn't want CPS called. She didn't want anybody getting on to her. She was trying to cover her butt. That's the way I look at it. Because in the last live, he was crying at the very end of it, and she had to leave. That's why this was done. That's why this was talked about. And you don't always have to have a reason to talk about your child. You don't. You can talk about your child's good things without having to have a reason to talk about them. She was covering herself, in my opinion. 100% my opinion. She was covering herself so that nobody reported her to CPS, so that nobody said anything to her. She was going to go back and explain herself and explain her son and explain what she wants and explain what she doesn't want. That's what Katie Joy was doing in this live. I don't feel that it was 100% right. I don't feel like it was 100% fair. And I'm sorry for ranting. I'm sorry for going on. This is a long video, but I had a lot to share, and I felt a certain way, and I still feel a certain way. So guys, I hope that y'all decide that y'all are going to have a wonderful day, night, weekend, holiday, year, whenever you might be watching this. And remember, once again, guys, these were all my opinions, 100% my opinions, and I just stated what I felt, not anything more than what was on my heart, in my heart, on my brain. It came from my brain to my mouth. I can't help it. It's the way I am. So y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry. Y'all have never seen me act like this, but I got riled up and I felt a certain way. So, guys, I hope y'all decide to go down there and subscribe to me, and I hope y'all decide to go down there and follow me, because I will be doing more things Katie Joy related whenever, especially if it, you know, affects me a certain way. I wish I could have played last night's Instagram for you to where the child was screaming. I wish I could, but I understand meltdowns, so I'm not going to be that type of person. My son used to have meltdowns, so I understand 100% autistic meltdowns. 100% I understand that. So I would never say that that's any more than a meltdown. And that's just my opinion. That's how I believe. That's what I think. So guys, I hope that y'all decide to have a wonderful day. If you don't smile, make somebody else smile, because it can change a lot. And like I said, guys, I'm sorry for the rant. I'm sorry for the long video, but I felt a certain way and I was going to speak the way I felt. And this one got to me. It really did. One autistic mom to whatever kind of mom you are. Find the love in your heart for your kids. Find the love in your heart for your offspring, no matter if they have a disability or not. Always, always support them. Always, always love them. Always, always let them know how proud you are of them. Always do that, because it can mean a lot to a child. It really can. Never talk about their disabilities. Whenever it comes to certain things, just talk about how proud you are. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go before I get even more heated in this video. I really am. And this is going to take me 2 days to upload. It will, because my internet is slow as ever. But alrighty, guys, I hope that y'all have a good one. And I'm sorry that we're in my car again, but I had to show you this and I had to give you my opinion. Alrighty, guys, I hope that y'all have a good one. Bye.